20 years ago, I sat across from my new therapist and I said, Jim, I think I'm crazy. And he said, Stacy, tell me more. It's my behavior. It's erratic, it's irrational. I say and do things all the time that I later regret, and it's wreaking havoc on my relationships. Jim stood up and took a dry erase marker out of his front pocket. Weird, I thought. And he traced an outline of the human brain on a white erase board, and he started to teach me about something called amygdala hijack. How we all have an almond-shaped amygdala in our alarm system in our brain, and how it's always scanning for threats. And if it detects anything that might be threatening or dangerous, real or perceived, it'll act. It'll hijack our thoughts. It's our fight, flight, and freeze response. I see you nodding. Yeah. So I'm not crazy? No, you're in survival mode. All these years later, I specialize in communication for conflict resolution. And whether I'm teaching children or adults, I always start with amygdala hijack because I think it's imperative that we as human beings understand our wiring, that we have an inner warrior that drives our behavior, and it can be really unhelpful in everyday conflicts when there's not a real threat. It can be helpful in saving our lives, however, and I'm going to share a story with you, and please know this has a happy ending for everybody involved. Last April, it was a Monday afternoon, and my wife and I just got home from running some errands, and we realized we had 4 bears on our property, a mama and 3 yearling bear cubs. 2 of them came up onto our deck, and so we were filming them through the window at our bird feeder, and we forgot the dog door was open. Before we knew what was happening, our dog Ruby Biscuits ran across the deck and chased a bear cub into our yard. Boom! Amygdala hijack. I didn't think, I ran. It was flight. I ran down the steps, and when I got to the bottom, Mama Bear was mauling our dog. It's a happy ending. Boom! Amygdala hijack. I didn't think I acted. Superhuman strength, adrenaline. I picked up a giant piece of driftwood. I held it over my head, and I screamed. That Mama Bear dropped the dog. She stood up on her hind legs, and she clawed me twice. The neighbors happened to be in their car. They heard the commotion, they honked their horn, they stopped the attack. The bears ran off, the dog and I ran upstairs, and we started our triage. We had a medical emergency care, and we're both fine today, but those 20 seconds from the time the dog got out till the neighbors honked their horn, what profound learning we were gifted. It started the next day. A wildlife biologist came to our house to help us determine whether or not the bear was acting defensively or predatorily. Of course it was defensive behavior. She was protecting her cubs from our dog. And I thought, how interesting. There were 3 animals in the yard, a dog, a bear, and a human, and all of our behavior was fueled by instinct. It wasn't predatory, it was protective. And it reminded me yet again how important it is to remember that in everyday conflicts with friends, family, colleagues, kids, it's not predatory behavior. We're all protecting ourselves. Right? There was more learning that unfolded over the weeks following the event. This was my initiation into acute trauma. And I lost my mind. I could not think. I could not attend, organize, motivate. My behavior changed, and there was no amount of rational thought that could talk my nervous system off the ledge. I was in abject terror for 24/7, looking for bears. And during this time, it occurred to me, oh my gosh, no wonder these babies, these children who have a mama bear in their life, an adult who's bigger, stronger, inflicting harm, no wonder they come to school and their thinking is impaired, and they struggle to attend, organize, and motivate, and their behavior might be challenging, and it cracked me wide open for our shared trauma, our human suffering. Because worldwide, 90% of us will survive a trauma. In the United States alone, 1 in 4 of us are physically abused as a child, and 1 in 5 of us are sexually abused. So, here's my big idea. I think embedding neuroscience into our educational system would dramatically increase our chances for a peaceful future. Imagine if from the time we're young, we learn more about this nervous system that fuels our behavior. We understand when we see someone in distress what might be fueling their behavior, and maybe it can change us from meeting each other like this to meeting each other like this, with concern, compassion, and kindness. And so it's a big lift to change the whole educational system, but if you have a little in your life, a little kid here, or a little kid still here, and you wanted to do something to help, I just got this book 2 days ago, recommended to me by a 10-year-old friend named Birdie, and it's an introduction into our amygdala. And in the meantime, the next time you experience amygdala hijack for yourself or someone else, maybe you remember that inner animal that we have, that instinct, and maybe you yourself will be able to meet the moment with a little more compassion, kindness, and curiosity. Thank you for your kind attention.